6 needed, and that could be the winning hit. It is. It's 6 for Lewis Gregory, and Somerset have won by 6 wickets. Tremendous win for Somerset, chasing down 194 to win, with Will Smead leading the way.
Hello there, this is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Jeppard, and joining me for the Women's Golden Apples 2025, I've got, well, who should we start with first? Somerset super sub, Harry Everett. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all right. Missing the cricket season. Winter's drawing in.
Harry, I've seen how much you always seem to find a game somewhere for the erratics or some team that's dragging it into the sort of playing in the middle of November, and then you're straight into indoors. So I think missing the cricket season is something that you never ever do. Given that you're going out to Australia, aren't you?
I haven't got any Ashes tickets yet. I'm still trying to find a way to get some Ashes tickets. So if anyone listening knows any spare tickets, let me know. I'm trying to last minute for the first 3 tests, hopefully.
Well, I'm sure you'll find a way, Harry. You always do.
Yeah.
And also joining me this evening, I've got not one, but 2 men who have seen more super overs than you. Making his Always Look on the Bright Side of Life debut is Matt Kingdom. Matt, obviously you're Dan's brother, for those who don't know you. How you doing? And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I think this podcast definitely needed another Kingdom in this mix, so here I am.
Definitely, we'll get Phil on one day, and I'll just take a back seat, and the 3 of you can just chat about cricket, which probably would be an improvement, to be honest. And Dan, how you going, mate? You wintering well?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah. Winter is setting in now after coming back from holiday last week.
It was absolutely freezing today, but
yes,
and I looked in the car and it was 14 degrees, and I just thought, oh god, it's not freezing, but we're all getting old. Right, before we crack on with the Golden Apples, then, have we had any regular Somerset news in the last week since we did the men's Golden Apples?
Did we mention our new signing? I don't know if we'd mentioned her. Did you mention last week?
Oh, new women's signing. Yes, Dan, would you like to tell us about... and it reminds me of something, the name. What is it?
B. Willis?
B. Willis, yes, because I was thinking of Friends when he does the IMB.
I wanted to go with where you were thinking.
That just sort of popped in my head. B. Willis, who is a product of the Devon Academy system, I believe.
Yes, and Gloucestershire as well, and then came for Western Storm, and then obviously was in the Somerset Academy this summer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about her. I've only seen the odd clip, but she seems to be, from the way she talks about herself as well, quite quick. Potentially, you know, she sees herself as being a bit of a game changer, which I think will be useful for Somerset. You know, I think for someone, you know, a bit of a replacement for Lauren Filer potentially, as someone who brings something a bit different to the table. Yeah, she's an exciting signing for next season for sure.
Good stuff. I'm just having a quick look at the website. England versus India women's tickets for the 2nd of June are now on general sale. Also, happy birthday to Sarge, Andy Hurry, Director of Cricket, Babar Azam, and Jamie Cox as well. So pretty good triple birthday day for Somerset here, the 15th of October. Many congratulations to the 3 of you. Right. Shall we crack on with the first ever women's Golden Apples? Which category should we start with then? Which one do we start first within the men's? We'll say it was Championship. Was it Metro Bank? Or let's start with the Metro Bank 50 then. Matt, who have you gone for as your Metro Bank Player of the Year? And
I have gone for Amanda J. Weddington. Be quite an unsurprising pick. I think she was basically every Player of the Year on the official awards as well. She was the highest wicket taker, 19 wickets. She was the 3rd highest run scorer with 282 runs, an average of 40, strike rate of 139. I don't think there's much arguing with those numbers. She just was the kind of player that you wanted to come in, you know, with when there was 10, 15 overs to go, to put some impetus into the innings, and pretty much always consistent with the ball bowling her 10 overs. There's no particularly standout performances. She was basically just solid, consistent across the whole tournament. So yeah, and hopefully we'll be signing her back next year, I think.
Hopefully so. Well, she did a video message at the dinner, and I forget the exact turn of phrase.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
On this, Harry, as well. She said,
I did straight away.
I wish you all the best for next year or something like that. So
Yeah.
maybe it's no, or maybe it's not confirmed yet. But
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
very much. I picked that up straight away, and I was like, "No, that means she's not coming back." It was like, "You're a great club, all the best for the future," kind of thing. Whereas
yeah,
should have said, "I'll see you next year," or "Look forward to catching up in April." Yeah, that was really. I mean, she's not as young as you might think she is. She still, still gets around the field pretty quick. She loves the cricket. She's got the enthusiasm. But yeah, I'm worried that might be the last we've seen of her in a Somerset shirt. Sadly, it was nice that she came from the Storm era to play in our first professional year with Trev. But I think that might be it. Sadly.
which would be a shame because I think Dan, I don't know if you've gone there as well, but I think she was one of quite few experienced heads in that lineup, wasn't she? And I think to overall watch them through the season, they just need more experience, and they need to just sort of play a lot of cricket and just get the game management side of things is where they need to improve the most. I think we got a little bit off topic as well. Was Amanda J. Wellington your Metro Player of the Year too?
She was, yeah. She holds the side together basically. Like without her, we wouldn't have won as many games as we did. She's absolutely vital, as Matt said, providing impetus at the end of the innings to push us on to a decent score. She's obviously very important with the ball through the middle overs. She's the player that they chuck the ball to if they need a wicket. She's economical as well. She's basically just the classic X Factor player, game changer. So the question is whether maybe she's got a better offer from another county for next season, or maybe we have decided to go a bit of a change of strategy when it comes to overseas players. I don't know if any domestic signings are coming in, but there are other areas of the team we may look to strengthen. But obviously, we're going to lose the talismanic all-rounder of Wello. We will clearly lose something from losing Wello, but hopefully they have a plan to be able to sort of to use the overseas players' impact in another position, which they think presumably will improve the team even more. That's presumably the thinking if we're not getting Wello back, because she is such a good player. She's an ideal player given that she isn't in the Australian team at the moment and has availability for the whole season.
Well, let's not forget that we're currently without a head coach, which is going to make it a bit more difficult to sign an overseas player because, I don't quite know where the head coach sits in sort of the leadership structure between the captain and the director of cricket and everything like that. But I would assume they have quite a big say in who they're going for in the transfer market. So perhaps it's a case of, well, we don't want to sign somebody in case the head coach that we want to sign thinks this player is not the right person. We need to take the club or the team forward in the direction that we want. So maybe we'll try and get the head coach sorted before we get the overseas sorted. And it's always a little bit then sort of chicken and egg. Or are you just worth going for, fantastic overseas, which 99% of coaches will go, yeah, that's a great player, and I'm more than happy to have her in my side.
Yeah, it's difficult for them.
Just having a look at the stats as well. I mean, Heather Knight was a massive miss after she got injured sort of midway through the first first batch of Metro Bank games as well. Like some of you guys, I can't look past Amanda J. Wellington as well, really. Just sort of for all the reasons you said, Harry. I'm afraid your vote is quite meaningless at the minute. It's already been decided by the three of us, but it was your Metro Bank Player of the Year.
Yeah, you had to go Wellington. Was it 11 innings, 4 not outs? I think she batted too low. A lot of the time, I thought she should bat higher. They talk about the finishers, Eddie Jones Rugby Union finishers they talked about, which seems to be a bit of a cricket term nowadays. I think she had 282 innings at 40. I mean, only a high score of 53, but she's going to score quickly and finish your game, so she's not going to go and get you 100. But yeah, even at a strike of 139 as well, like Danny Gibson was 140, and that's it really. We know that some of the guys will go hard at the top, but they were consistently scoring quickly. You can tell the class that Wellington and Gibson have got. We just didn't see enough of Gibson with their injuries. Yeah, Wellington was a class above.
Yep. Congratulations then, Amanda J. Wellington, winner of the first ever Women's Golden Apples for Metro Bank Player of the Year. Right, there should be a little bit more competition and opinion in this one. The Metro Bank One Day Cup performance of 2025. Dan, do you want to kick us off?
Yep, so I just went for Danny Gibson this one. So her 50 off 30 balls against Warwickshire at Taunton in the very last group game in the Metro Bank secured us a bonus point with.
Was that the one that nobody saw because we were all at finals day?
Exactly, yeah. In all honesty, I have not seen this innings, but 50 or 30, we're under, it was a relatively small chase, but we're under a bit of pressure. We did need to secure that bonus point to give ourselves a chance of reaching the semi-final. We did it with flying colours, with plenty of overs to spare. Obviously, unfortunately, Durham lost to Surrey later that day, so we obviously didn't qualify for the semis, but we did what we could on that day. And it's just such a shame that Gibson missed most of the season with injury. And obviously, when she did play, she could only bat as well. But next season, hopefully, she's fully recovered and good to go with both bat and ball, and can make a lot more, make a bigger impact for us.
Yep. Did you have any honourable mentions?
Well, clearly, Wello's performance in the very first game at Beckenham is the obvious one, 24 of 7. But yeah, I'm sure someone else will talk about that.
Definitely. I've gone for Sophie Luff's 100 up at Edgbaston in the game against the Bears. Harry's cheering that one. Is that what you've gone for as well, Harry?
Well, that's the problem with not getting to go in first, isn't it? Because you two have both mentioned what I was going to mention, and potentially Matt too. You want to be the person who brings in a new idea, but I was going to mention Wello and Fran Wilson at Beckenham when it was against Surrey, not Kent, in that pretty grey April 1st game. And I was going to mention Luffy's turn at Edgbaston. So yeah, they were my two main ones.
Yeah, I mean it was just a class knot, and Sophie has missed Somerset. She, I always think of two players that just epitomise Somerset for me: Tom Abel and Sophie Luff, for the men's and women's teams respectively. So I know I know she's absolutely itching to get 100 at Taunton as well. But to get one as captain of Somerset Women, the first ever ton for Somerset Women as well. And of course, it was setting up a win as well against what are they called then? The Warwickshire Women? Are they the Warwickshire Women Bears, or the Warwickshire Bears Women, or the Women Bears, or the Women Bears, or Bears Women, or the Warwickshire Women Bears?
The Bears Women, I think.
No one knows.
Is there like a not medical? Is there like a biological term for a female bear? Like a female pig is a sow. Should they be called I don't know.
From Google,
Googling it.
I don't think so. It seems
and if
to
there
be.
Is, it's probably really offensive, and you wouldn't want to call a cricket team anyway.
I think my policy is to call them Warwickshire across all formats. I don't give a shit about this Bears crap. They are Warwickshire, all formats.
I agree.
I don't refer to them as anything else.
I'm the same. Totally. I do it on comms deliberately now. I deliberately call them Warwickshire, not Bears, not the Bears, not Birmingham. Yeah, I actually I had a debate with someone on comms or Twitter. I was like, it's almost racist in this day and age when you can't be racist. If you're from Stratford or Coventry or Leamington,
day and age, well, I suppose you could. Yeah, I suppose you could be racist when there was like slavery in the 1800s and all that. Yeah, go on.
We're trying to clamp down on this elitism and particular areas. But if you're from Warwickshire, you want to affiliate with Warwickshire. If you live 20 minutes outside of Birmingham in a little village, you don't want to follow Birmingham, you want to follow Warwickshire. If we were called Taunton, we wouldn't have our fans from Langport or Norton Fitzwarren or Watchet or whatever. You want to be from the whole area.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Devon and I support Somerset, and I don't feel
our region rises, doesn't it?
Our region does rise indeed. Rose pretty well this year. So who are you going for then, Harry? I guess you're going for Luffy as well?
Well, Luffy or Weller, I can see where Matt goes, and then if I need this deciding vote between one of those two.
You want the casting vote? Go on then, Matt. You go, and we'll give Harry the casting vote.
Well, I have gone for Sophie Luff's 100 against whatever we're calling this team, Warwickshire, back in May. Yeah, as Shep said, first 100 for Somerset Women in the professional era. That's it's very fitting that it went to Sophie Luff. Has the highest score in the amateur era as well, 151. So she's currently got both in the amateur and the professional era, which I'm sure she'll be looking to keep. Also, just to mention that even though Warwickshire did struggle, that was a very good bowling attack that she did that against. But basically, all of them had international caps. To get 111 out to steer Somerset to just under 300. And at that part of the that stage of the season, Somerset were going very well. 4 wins from 5 or so. So yeah, it was just kind of summed up that start of the season that Somerset had, which was very strong. Unfortunately, it didn't go as great later in the season, but it's just really good that moment for Luffy to get that first 100 for Somerset.
Brilliant. Go on then, Harry. You have the casting vote. Is it a tie?
Yeah, I think. No, I'm going to go. 111, not exactly.
You're going to have to sit next to her. In the commentary box for quite a few long periods of time next season.
Yeah, I was just confirming. So her one-day cup stats: 362 runs. That one not out was 111. 12 innings, average of 32.9. She'll be disappointed with only averaging 32, but and not having more winning knocks. But yeah, strike rate of 74 was sort of getting there as well. She's going to be the anchor at number 3. A couple of times she'll move around, but yeah, I'm going to go Sophie Love.
Excellent.
Captain fantastic.
Captain fantastic, Sophie Love. Congratulations, then, Luffy. First ever Metrobank one-day cup performance of the year. Golden Apple goes to Sophie Love. Right, moving on then. Let's do the brain fart of the year. My honourable mention is to the ECB for putting fixtures at home for the women when we are playing away at Gloucestershire in a T20 and at finals day, respectively. With quite sparse crowds, I'd imagine. Although I think the Taylor Swift one did pretty well on that T20 night.
That did very well, to be fair. Yeah, very, very well. It was the highest attended single header match of the season, wasn't it? In the entire blast.
Yeah,
it was,
2000 as well. But how much of that was down to Taylor Swift and how much of the
Yeah.
anyway? Just don't worry about that. It was well attended.
They intentionally did something different because they knew that all the
Yeah.
men's fans would be focused on the women. So it was they made the best of that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
finals day clash was the bigger issue, for sure. That was fast.
Yeah. But I can't think of too many actually, but one that really stuck out to me was a game that I went to watch them a little ago. It was the T20 against the Bears / Warwickshire / Edgbaston, whatever they're called. God bless her, Fran Wilson. Jess Hazel's batting with Fran Wilson. Jess Hazel hits one straight to mid-wicket. Fran Wilson decides to run for some inexplicable reason. And is run out with a direct hit from mid-wicket by half the pitch. That would have been bad enough, but then the very next ball, Jess Hazel does exactly the same, punts one straight to cover, and then decides to run as well, narrowly misses running out Amanda J. Wellington. So my nominees for Brain Fart of the Year for Somerset Women are Fran Wilson and Jess Hazel for those 2 balls of madness. So I'm going for a joint nomination for mine too. Harry, no, you can go. Do you want to go last? No, you can go next, Harry. So you can.
Yeah, I don't mind. Well, yeah, I haven't got much more to add because I was going to go multiple collapses across the season. I mean, I could name there's multiple collapses where they just lose wickets in clumps. I think that's been a problem of the Western Storm. Trevor will look back on his ear and say it's just frustrating how many games have lost from good positions or going well in the first innings, and suddenly there's been a collapse where 4 wickets are lost really quickly, and suddenly you're into the middle or lower order too early. That what was going to be a good score isn't a good score. But yeah, I was going to go not just for your reasons, but I was going to go the ECB also allowing the England squad to go on holidays and have a glorified net. Emma Lamb, for example, missed out on winning a trophy for Lancs Women, having been a pivotal part. It's not just Somerset Women, but the ECB not letting county players in the first year professional era, not letting them play in September because they're going on holiday or they're having a net in the Middle East, when in September there was cricket going on here that they could have been playing in 50 over competition to get ready for the World Cup. That for me is a massive brain fart.
All right, we established last week we've got to keep them in house though. The brain fart. You can honourable mentions the ECB. In fact, if you did honourable mention the ECB, we'd be recording this podcast till midnight. But you've got to go in house for your winner.
Well, I'll go a collapse. But if the other two have any specific collapses, I'm happy to go with because there's so many collapses. You could go to any of them, to be honest.
Any collapse. All right. Dan, your brain fart of the year for the women.
My one is it's a fairly irrelevant one in the grand scheme of things, but it was just quite a gobsmacking moment. Last ball of the Warwickshire T20 at Taunton. Chloe Skelton just hit it.
Is this your thing where you don't run until everyone's all out of the last three ball?
Not really, no. Because the game was gone at this point. She hit it straight to mid-off and just kind of... There was a single there, but just wandered down the other end. Olivia Barnes at the other end started to run and then gave up. And they just gave up. They just started to walk off and that was it. The ball was thrown to the keeper, Nat Rafe, and she took the bails off. And she would just run out. It was just completely mindless moment. I don't understand what was going on. It was just... And Peter Tree, I watched it back the other day, and Trigo on commentary was just completely gobsmacked by what he had seen. He just could not believe what he had just witnessed. It was, as I say, it was completely irrelevant. But it was in all honesty, completely unprofessional. The way that they just stopped, like you know, just we just need to clean up. Little, it's not that wouldn't have made a difference ultimately to the result because they needed plenty off the last ball, like 30 or something. But ultimately, we just need.
Well, you can't run 30 until you've run one, Dan. So
Yeah, exactly. But we just need to tidy up certain things, I think, so, and engage the brain a little bit more at times. And that obviously links back to the collapses as well and making the right decision. And and it's all a learning experience. It's a very young team, so I'm not going to go. I don't want to be too harsh on them.
So who'd you say was that? Scouts and Liv Barnes, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Matt, you've got the casting vote then.
Well, I don't know if it's concerning that we've all gone for different brain fades. So I don't know if that's a bit of a worrying trend for the team.
Well, I'll be honest. Some years the men's I've gone over like 4 or 5 sheets of A4 paper, so I don't think we're being unduly harsh. But
yeah. So I've gone for the final match of the T20 campaign against Lancashire at Blackpool, going to the final over. Lancashire needed 13 to win from 6 balls. I've never seen a game swing from this team is definitely going to win to a series of unfortunate events that lead to, well, in this case, a tie. So 13 needed from 6. There were 2 wickets off the first 2 balls bowled by Molly Robbins. So 13 needed off 4. And then it just goes, there's a wide, which is misfielded, leading to 2 runs. And Luff drops a catch, which they get a single. Luff drops another catch, they get a single. And then a misfield by Luff, which allows them to get 2, leading them to the 7 off 1. And Molly Robbins basically bowls it straight into Alana King's hitting arc. She's shuffled across her stumps, so she just bowls it basically straight and short, and it just swings away for a 6 to tie the match. How that game was tied, I have no idea, but I think collectively goes to Robbins and Luff.
That was the men had a T20 home game that night, didn't they? I think it was Gloucester.
Yes.
And I remember Spencer was on his laptop with the press box, bless him, and he's aging pretty gracefully, Spencer. I think he's the same age as me, 45, 46. And I swear he had a lot less hair and he was a lot greyer after watching that final over than he was at the start. But I just remember going, "No, what are you doing?" So a collective failure to see out that Lancashire game is your nomination, Matt. Yeah. Go on, Harry. You got some good choices there. What are you going for?
No, I don't like this. I shouldn't have said that earlier on. Should like this pressure and deciding vote.
If you can come up with your own, then it's a 4-way tie and it's not as bad.
Yeah, can I just go with a collapse? Yeah, I'm going to go up my own 4-way tie.
A collapse.
Calypso, collapso.
A collapse. You got to say one.
Can we? How about the Durham T20 at Chester Street?
Well, I was going to save that for I was going to mention the Durham at Exmouth was going to be a moment I was going to mention later on. Go on, let's put that in now. Then I was going to mention it later on, but do that now. Durham at Exmouth, so they had a bit more to travel from the northeast to Devon.
All right, we'll do that then. Okay, it's a 4-way tie then. All those nominations are collective winners of 1/4 of a golden apple each for the Somerset Women's Brain Fart of the Year. Right, moving on then. We'll do let's do T20s then. Let's go for T20 Player of the Year. And Harry, do you want to kick us off for this one?
Yeah, again, it's easy to go Wellington because she's just been quality in all formats for Somerset this year and previous years. But I was going to go maybe slightly left field. I mean, Bex Hodges I really like at the top of the order, being aggressive. She was tried with Amelie Monday, didn't really work. We should say, we've announced that Amelie's leaving. Bex Hodges had multiple partners. Niamh Holland, though, I want to mention because she missed quite a few games. She had this stress fracture, so missed the start of the season, but then came back really well. I think she ended up with 341 runs, average sort of 20, 30 odd. But at the top of the order, she gave that bit of impetus and that sort of positivity. When we see her back bowling, she'll be a real integral part. So I could have gone Anderson or Robbins, who've been pretty good with the ball, but sort of as a partnership rather than individual. But I thought Holland coming back in and being that aggressor at the top sort of just really helped having someone who could bat aggressively and carry it on into the middle overs.
So you go for Niamh Holland. Great stuff. Dan, your T20 Player of the Year?
Yep, hate to be boring, but it has to be Wello once again. I could basically say the same thing as I said for the One Day Cup. I mean, she is the game changer, the match winner. Although we only won one match, but obviously that was Wello's doing with bat, definitely and possibly with ball as well. She clearly should have come up the order more often in the blast. We potentially would have won an extra game or two if she had done so. If she had been sent up the order, she was a reliable hitter down the order, to often clearing up slight messes from above. We did struggle as a side, obviously, throughout that T20 competition. Unfortunately, but Willow was the shining light with both bat and ball, so it has to be her.
I've gone for Molly Robbins as my T20 Player of the Year. I just very much like her as a cricketer. She's very tall. She kind of hits that nice length. It's sort of a Craig Overton style, opening the bowling in T20. She's very much in his kind of mould, and I like that as a cricketer. I think she's potentially got the all the attributes to go further in the game internationally. I know stats-wise, slightly eclipsed by Wellington, particularly with the bat, but she was leading wicket taker. So I've gone for Molly Robbins. Matt, you've got the casting vote in this three-way tie.
Okay, well, unfortunately, it's the boring option. It is Amanda J. Wellington for me. I see the point with Molly Robbins. She had a very good season as the highest wicket taker, which probably no one really would have predicted. But Wello is basically the only player that you felt like you could rely on game after game. We were always advocating for her to come in basically as soon as possible and to finish off the innings. And yeah, again, reliable with the ball and just seemed to be, we've kind of alluded to it, but just such a good influence off the pitch with her experience, and seemed to be publicising the team as well with her YouTube vlogs and that kind of thing. So just that force of character just seemed to be a really good player to have around the squad. And yeah, we've kind of said everything there is to say about her, but I think she seems to deserve both Player of the Years in both formats.
Fantastic then. Winning then by 2-1-1. Your Vitality T20 Player of the Year, Amanda Jade Wellington. On then to T20 Performance of the Year. I was a little bit, I found this one quite difficult because there weren't that many kind of standout sort of Sean Dixon-esque performances that really took a game by the scruff of the neck and won it. There were lots of kind of little chip-ins here and there, and eventually I've plumped with Molly Robbins' 4 for 29 against the, whatever they're called, Edgbaston Bears from Warwickshire and Birmingham. That helped set us up really for a pretty chaseable target. We didn't end up chasing it, but that was for me. I was there, I watched it. I thought she bowled incredibly well. So that for me is mine. Harry, what was your performance of the year in the T20s?
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm trying to make a concerted effort here not to give things to Wello, because I feel like she could win every award. And I got a bit bored at the dinner. It was a bit embarrassing where it was like, and the award goes to Amanda J. Wellington, who's not here. She's not here. I think, 3 awards. Eventually, they had the nice video from her. But she's never going to get the award. And if we're not allowed to have vlogs next year, then it's a real shame as well. So I was just trying to be different. And I also thought Molly Robbins deserves an award. She improved across the season. At the start, it was sort of Ellie Anderson was confirmed, and her and Jackson were sort of in and out, and there was a bit of variety. Aaron Vukusic, of course, coming later in the season. You could tell from the season starting that Somerset had a lot of spinners and lacked an experienced seamer. There weren't many seamers, and I was worried about not cannon fodder sounds harsh, but in the power play, sometimes the seam was just whacked everywhere until the spinners came on and brought it back. So yeah, I was also going to go that Molly Robbins 4 for. You don't think of her as being a T20 bowler necessarily. I did a bowling coaching course for young girls back with her in March, and it was fascinating hearing her talking about the change-ups. And I thought, fair play, she's having coached it to the young girls, she's then done it on the big stage. So yeah, I was also going to give it to Robbins' 4 for.
Good stuff. Matt, what was yours?
Yeah, I've also gone with Robbins 4 for 29. For the reasons you say, I mean, she got two in that first over, which really put Warwickshire on the back foot. As I say, unfortunately, didn't get the win in the end. But I mean, just to give some further context to Robbins' career, and as Harry kind of alluded to, that she only ever played 4 T20 matches for Western Storm, and in those she only bowled twice. But those matches she only got 1 over. there were a couple games where she seemed to effectively play as a specialist batter at 8 or 9. Like there didn't seem to be any intention of bowling her. So she's come on leaps and bounds over the winter, clearly, to be able to put in these kind of performance in the T20 and end up as Somerset's overall leading wicket taker in the competition. So it's an amazing kind of story for Molly Robbins, and hopefully she'll continue that.
Dan, it's done and dusted, but who was your T20 player of the year? Is it clean sweep for Robbo?
I actually went for Charlie Dean's 4 for 9 against Lancashire at Taunton. So this was the Taylor Swift game.
Vale, wasn't that? Was at the Vale, wasn't it?
Sorry?
All right, was that at the Vale? Oh, no, it was Essex.
No, the Taylor Swift game. So this was the
T20 on the Friday night.
Yeah,
yes.
While the men were playing at Bristol. Yeah, I mean, this was a close match, which Dean's 4 for 9 almost hauled us over the line. We were defending, weren't we? We were following it, weren't we, at Bristol, Matt? And it was looking close, and Dean was bowling at the end. I think she was bowling at the end. I don't know, but she took 4 for 9, and that meant that we almost got the win. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite do it, but that's in a T20, 4 for 9 are pretty remarkable figures. And hopefully we see more of Dean in the Blast next year.
Yeah, I think she bowled the 19th and left it looking quite close, and then Elsa Lister just about won it for Lancashire.
Yes, I remember. Yeah,
well, good stuff. Congratulations to Molly Robbins, recipient of the Golden Apple for T20 Performance of the Year for a 4 for 29 against Warwickshire. We've got 2 left. Let's do Young Player of the Year next. Now, quite a lot of young cricketers in the Somerset women's ranks. I was just having a little look, and I think they are 14 of the squad are under 25 at the minute. So it's quite a wide net to cast here to select your Young Player of the Year from. Matt, who was your Young Player of the Year for 2025?
Yeah, I'd say it's a lot of people to choose from, but I guess the good thing is not Amanda J. Wellington, so it means we can pick someone else. So I've gone for Ellie Anderson, kind of in a second proper full season after playing one season on loan for Storm last year. Just a lot of improvement from her this year, I think. She still is a bit wayward, a bit erratic, can be at times, but just seems her impact. The amount of bowled she gets for a start. I think about half her wickets came bowled, including the first ever wicket for a professional Somerset team, getting Bryony Smith at Beckenham. She was the second highest wicket taker in the One Day Cup. And I think her 2 performances right at the end of the season against Lancashire and Warwickshire in September, 3 for 44 and 2 for 30, that kind of helped basically spark collapses right from the start, which set up some really easy chases for Somerset to win those couple games in September. But as I say, she is kind of erratic. I think it kind of sums up in the Blaze game at Loughborough back in May. Beautiful delivery to bowl Maddie Green, who was on 97 at the time, really bringing Somerset back into the equation. And then her next over goes for 22, I think it was, and that basically killed the game off. But overall, it's been a season of improvement for Ellie Anderson, and excited to see if she can keep improving with that kind of extra yard of pace that seems to really startle batters.
Good stuff. Harry, your Young Player of the Year?
Yeah, I too have gone for Ellie Anderson. 21 at the moment, 22 at the end of the month. But I didn't think of her as being that young, you know what I mean? If you're looking on, when you watch her bowl, she seems like she's been around for longer with more skill and craft. I mean, even if you take the top wicket takers, you got Wello, Skelts, and Charlie Dean, 3 pretty experienced, have been around, and they're all spinners. So she's a top seamer. She's young, 23 wickets for 638 runs. Not many maidens, but an average of 27. I also think she's handy down the order. I think she's got run potential. Had a high score of 28, only averaged 16 with a bat, but I think she's going to be more of an 8 or 9 rather than 10, 11 going forward. I think, she can bat. Honourable mentions for Erin Vakusic, who's obviously really young, had that pretty good game on Sky. I think she only took 7 wickets, but I think she's one who's really going to be for the future. We need seam bowlers, as the first signing shows. And my other honourable mentions, sort of in a second and a third place, would be Jess Hazel. I think Bex Hodges kept in a couple of T20s, but Somerset needed that keeper in for most of the season, really. Jess Hazel came in, did well. Uni student, just finished uni. She's come in, got a professional contract from ex-university, but she's been in and around the setup with Storm and the academy for so long. Great to get a chance with the gloves. And even in that Legends game we talk about, the guys were saying how impressed they were with her keeping. You had Steph Jones and Andy Caddick. Yes, they're old and not played for a while, but they were still getting it through. You had
Yeah.
Treats getting annoyed with getting whacked by the Sidmouth
Mm.
lad Patidar and was steaming in, and Jess was taking them comfortably. Yeah, I've been impressed with the glove work.
Did they mention your fielding in that game as well, Harry? How impressed they were with your fielding or not?
No, I don't think I had anything to do. The game was done by the time I come on.
Brilliant stuff. Dan, your young player of the year?
Yeah, so I've gone with someone who's not been mentioned yet. That's Niamh Holland.
Oh, okay.
She's come on a lot in the last couple of years. I think she was thrown into regional cricket very young. She was 15 when she made her Western Storm debut in 2020. I just found the scorecard, and she actually I remember well, it was actually her second game where she first batted and bowled. She got 1 over 14 runs and bowled 4 wides, and she actually batted at 11 below Claire Nicholas, who was a specialist bowler. She's always clearly been a player of potential, who, as I say, was thrown in very young, so you can't judge her too much on those early years. But she's clearly starting to mature a lot. She's focusing on her batting, I believe. I don't think she bowled at all this season.
That's because of a stress fracture in her back. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But she captained the side, didn't she? In the win against Essex at Taunton. That was our only win in the Blast. And she after missing the early season with injury, when she came in later in the season, she batted at the top of the order and had a couple of 50s. 60 against Hampshire at Taunton in the T20, and then a very impressive 78 at Chelmsford in a match there was 50 over game, which we scored 312 for 6, and we probably would have won, but unfortunately it rained, so that wiped out the rest of the game. But yeah, I think she was very impressive, and I think she is going to be a very, very big part of Somerset's future. She's only 20. This was her 6th season playing for Western Storm or Somerset, but she's only 20, and as she was made captain for a game, it clearly shows she's held in high regard by the management. Yeah, she's going to be a big part of Somerset's future in the coming years.
It sounds ridiculous, but a bit like James and Thomas Rue, I feel like when Thomas Rue is 20, I don't think he should qualify for the Young Player of the Year award. I know in any other club, in any other name, that was my approach to Niamh Holland. She's been around for 5-6 years in the setup, so I just don't see it. I know technically she's young, fine, but for me, if you played over 5 years in the top level first team, I just feel like you can't be young anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've gone for Ellie Anderson as well. So congratulations, Ellie, winner of the Golden Apple for Young Player of the Year. Right. Final award of the night then, the Sparkling Cider Moment of the Year. Should probably be the easiest one to come to an agreement on. But sometimes you get surprises thrown up. So, Harry, your Sparkling Cider Moment of the Year.
Well, I think the obvious one for me to mention straight away is the win against Surrey. Any win against Surrey is a pretty sparkling, special moment. Wellington hitting those 4s at the end with Fran Wilson was pretty special against Surrey and Kent. I want to give shout-outs, though, to 2 Liv Barnes catches. The one that went viral that any sort of county women's cricket fan would have probably seen. The sort of, I want to say, one-handed star jump sort of thing. Good catch. But I also might have missed, dare I mention, go back to that Legends game. Liv Barnes is in the crowd watching Skelton, Hazel, and Luff, her mates. I felt sorry for Liv Barnes. 3 of her mates are picked to play. She wasn't picked. And she's just in the crowd having a drink and eating a chips.
I heard she was just ready to go on and subfield, Harry. She was all stood down on the boundary and you just sprinted out in front of her. Elbowed her in the face, that's what I heard. But anyway.
She was more than happy having a drink and her chips and chilling out on the bit in front of the pavilion and just stuck out of one hand. It was a great catch. It was one of the best crowd catches I've seen. And I just thought that was class. So that was my personal, just to be different and be out there, that'd be my sparkling moment.
So the Liv Barnes crowd catch at Sidmouth. Yeah, I got the view from, I was inside, I was queuing up for a drink. And I just saw her go, boom.
Class, yeah.
Round to the left and take it. So that was pretty decent. Right, I've got the messiest notes ever tonight. So LBCC Sid. I'll get that down as. Dan, Sparkling Cider Moment of the Year.
Yeah, it has to be the win at Beckenham in the first ever Somerset Women's Professional game. the equation near the end, I can't remember it exactly. It was something like 30 off 2 overs, wasn't it? It was something which in women's cricket you are very,
Yeah.
very unlikely to see chased down. Like 9 times out of 10, maybe even 99 times out of 100, it wouldn't happen. But strangely, I always had the faith, and with Wello there, you just never know. You also never know when Surrey. It also helps when the Surrey captain does not put someone out on the offside in the deep on the cut.
Yeah.
But Weller was very good at, she was not necessarily fed ball after ball that was outside of something she was able to cut. She manipulated the field beautifully. She moved into the position. She moved into
she
the
just
position.
gave herself a bit of room, not wildly, was it? And then just sort of cultured, punched it through that gap between sort of cover and gully and point. She just kept picking the gaps.
Yeah, they weren't necessarily there to cut, but she found a way to do so. It was 6 balls in a row, wasn't it? And then obviously Fran Wilson finished it off. It was absolutely unbelievable just to get the win against Surrey in our first ever professional game. Such a sweet moment. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. It has to be that.
Yeah, it's the same for me as well. I mean, I'd gone to pick my little girl up from her dance class, which finished at 6. So I was kind of sat watching the end of it in the car, and I may or may not have had it on when I was driving home as well because it was such a gripping finish. But I thought the stream was broken at one stage because it was just repeat after repeat of AJW just smashing it through backward point and there being no fielder there. And I was thinking, you should put a fielder out there because that's exactly where she's hitting it. And literally you just need to stop one ball going for 4 and that's the game. Credit to her, as you said, Dan, she was batted very intelligently, manipulated the field, found the gaps. And like you say, in women's cricket, it's very difficult because you don't very often find the players that can just go bang, bang, bang and just, smash massive sixes to chase these tricky targets down. A lot of the time it is that cricket nous of working out where your gaps are to get boundary force. So absolutely fantastic. And as you say, beating Surrey in the first ever professional game for Somerset women was absolutely incredible. Matt, you started us off a while ago. You got the final vote, your sparkling cider moment of the year.
Yeah, and probably won't be surprised. I've also gone for the win at Beckenham. I think I would always be an advocate for watching cricket in person over watching cricket on the stream, and I would have loved to have been there, but it was still a brilliant experience watching on the stream, and just so funny every time the camera just panning over and thinking, surely they put a fielder there this time, and just the reveal that it's just trickling away to the boundary was brilliant. And just also to shout out the rest of that innings as well. I mean, the whole chase was incredible, really. To chase 240 odd in 33 overs, the opening partnership between Knight and Corney was 122. Knight 64 off 54 and Corney 61 off 68. And Dean came in and hit 41 off 35. Wilson struggled to get going, but she just about managed to get there in time to hit that winning boundary as well. So it was a massive team effort, especially with the bat. Not just Wello's heroics, of course, but the rest of the team got them into that position pretty much for Wello to be able to finish it off. So it was just an amazing start to the season. I think because going into that game, we were probably relatively pessimistic about Somerset women's chances based on the form of Western Storm in previous seasons. But to get that win against Surrey was just an amazing moment. And I don't think it was topped for the rest of the season.
No, go on. Let me come in as well because I had quite a nice story I meant to tell earlier. Actually, I happened to be at my club Wemden ready for training, and the timings was perfect because the Somerset Ladies Twos, which they don't call themselves Twos, which annoys me, they call it the Academy or the Ladies side. They were playing Glamorgan, and Erin Vakusic, Bodge, Bex Odgers were playing in this game, and the Somerset Women's Twos, that I like to call them, were batting. And I turned up watching the first team for Beckenham on my phone, just walking in. And then I'm sat next to Bex Odgers, who 2 weeks later is opening the batting for this team. And we're sat watching it together, living every moment, the drama, the excitement. And we, as you were saying, how is she? She's not smacking it over cow. She's not whacking it over long on. She's just hitting it through the offside. She's just hitting it along the ground. It's tripping over the rope. And it was just amazing to be with the Somerset women's squad, the 2 or 3 players who hadn't quite made the trip to go to Beckenham. I just thought that was amazing to be with them watching that. It was pretty special. And yeah, as you say, they'd written it off. They'd gone out to bat thinking we're not going to win this game. And then suddenly, as they came off for drinks, I was like, they're going to win. And they're like, Harry, give us updates. And it was just really exciting. And we were all gathered around these little screens. And then someone else had one. The Glamorgan girls were watching it. Glamorgan didn't really have anything on it, but they were buzzing. They were just excited to see women's county cricket starting off with a bang.
And yet it still wasn't your champagne.
Well, it was
moment of the
really.
year.
I was just trying to be different because Wellow's got so many awards. I just try to give it not to
Well, I
Wellow.
think we're just giving it to the moment, I think, rather than Wellow specifically. But yeah, 24 off 7 balls on that game was absolutely done and dusted in Surrey's favour. Was absolutely remarkable. And yeah, justifiably the winner of the first ever Sparkling Cider Moment of the Year for Somerset women. And if my admin is correct, we are done and dusted. Of course, no championship Red Bull awards for the women yet. I'd like to see that change. I think a bit of Red Bull cricket for the girls would be fantastic. Yeah. I mean, should we have a little reflect on Somerset women? I know we generally tend to moan about the men for about 50 minutes, and then Dan will probably then go, "Excuse me, you forgot about Somerset women." So, I mean, I'd start. I think the season could have gone. There's a lot of sliding doors moments in the season. We just talked about one that really went our way in the first game. We talked about the tie up at Lancashire, which could have gone quite easily another way. So various other little moments where I just felt that they didn't quite just grasp the nettle and go on and just win games like Lewis Gregory did in the final. He just went out and won the game. Didn't think about it, knew exactly what he was going to do, get that game done and dusted without going into the last over, boom, and he did it. And I think that for me is what Somerset women need to get, is just that clarity and then just that ruthless kind of killer instinct to just go out and win games.
That finishing touch. Yeah, I totally agree. It's whether they need experience to do that, but then Heather Knight was injured quite a lot.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help. But I mean, if you think 1 win and 1 tie in 12 completed blast games isn't great, in the One Day Cup, 5 wins, 6 losses, and 1 no result going into that September period. And then Charlie Dean, the bonus, she got to play against the Blaze, got an important few wickets. Obviously, we're better in the One Day Cup than the T20 comp this year. But like you say, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Just trying to find that way to get over the line. And when a Knight and a Gibson are playing, they look more experienced, more clinical.
Yeah.
When they haven't got that, they're such a young squad. And they've lost so many games. Winning's a habit. Winning's a momentum. And when you're used to losing games for Storm, they're losing games that they probably shouldn't have done. I mean, we should reflect on Trevor Griffin's done some great work for the Western Storm, winning the double cell twice. He's done some great work and he's had his first year. He deserved to get his first year, but I think they will start again. And it might be I feel like it might be a different, a different regime going forward. We don't know who it's going to be yet. I think it might be almost like a fresh start. And
can we just clarify, Harry? Have you sent your CV in? Are you on the shortlist?
No, I'm not, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, Matt and Dan, you probably watched more women's cricket than pretty much all the other Somerset fans combined, I would reckon, over the years. I mean, Dan, what are your kind of thoughts on reflections on the season?
Yeah, it was a season in 50 over cricket, it was definitely a season of progress. Like, from where Western Storm were the previous couple of years, Storm were nowhere near qualification in the last couple of seasons of the Harry Flint Trophy, and not really at all, to be honest, throughout the entire regional era. So the fact that we got very near, if that final game between Durham and Surrey had gone the other way, we'd have been in the semi-finals. We did make progress in that format, and I think we will regret the fact that we won the first 4, we won 4 of our first 5 games, but then there was just that lost momentum throughout the end of May and then in the middle of the season. We did get unlucky with no result at Chelmsford as well. There was a couple of losses to Hampshire and Surrey.
That game, didn't we?
Sorry?
That was a game. We got about 320 in that game, didn't we?
Yeah. We did.
Yeah, the rain shafted us big time.
Yeah.
We lost a couple of games at home to Hampshire and Surrey as well, Taunton in May, which just killed the momentum a bit, which meant we were kind of playing catch-up. And it was impressive in September, to be fair. Like, going into September, I didn't have much hope, but we did get that really good win at Old Trafford. We got a good win against Warwickshire at Taunton. So, there's clearly something to build on there. And 50 over cricket is clearly the side's stronger format. So hopefully next season we can make that extra step and get into a knockout stage, because it's significant. That would be a significant moment, because since the regional era started, Western Storm / Somerset are the only side not to have made any knockout stages, and to be honest, they have rarely come close. They came close to getting through in the Charlotte Edwards Cup once, I think, and then obviously this year in the One Day Cup. So we need to get into a knockout stage soon. And in the Blast, obviously that was very disappointing. There was the odd moment where if it had gone our way, we may have got a couple of extra wins. But yeah, hopefully we'll see some improvements there next year. We have seen from individual players throughout the season, we have seen improvements. There are players who are maturing, who will play increasingly bigger roles, going forward. I think so. It's exciting times ahead for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think any player has gone backwards from where they were at the start of the season. I think there's been improvement shown by everyone in the squad. But it's how quick they need to improve, because they're some way behind a few of the other sides, and particularly in terms of, like we said, putting games to bed and that sort of killer instinct. Matt, do you want to finish us off? Your thoughts on 2025?
Yeah, I mean, echoing what you guys have said a lot. I mean, yeah, if you look at Western Storm in 2024, there was a lot of games, four or five in a row in the Flint Trophy, that they looked like they were going to win and then didn't. Somerset have improved on that a lot in this year with putting games to bed, but there also are, as you say, some that we kind of were in position to win and didn't, especially in the 50 over tournament. So there is that, but then you can put that down. It's a young side, and as you say, they've all improved. Ellie Anderson, Molly Robbins, Neve Holland, these kind of players we've all mentioned so far today, they all will have learned from this season, and hopefully will kick on again next season. I think also another thing to mention is the amount of rain that Somerset women experienced during the season. In a season where the men's team didn't have no results, I don't think, and very few reduced by DLS. But I think at least half, even more than half of Somerset women's 50 over games were reduced in some way, and a couple of their T20s as well. Plus, we've mentioned the no result against Essex. The fact that I sat in the rain during a Somerset Blaze game 3 times, watching it. In the Somerset Blaze game alone, just kind of sums up how unlucky Somerset got in a pretty good summer for weather with rain. You can't tell how that would have changed things, but I think we've kind of established that Somerset are a much better side over a longer format. We struggle in T20, but the kind of players that we have are more suited to 50 over cricket. So if more games had been gone the full distance, then that might have changed things as well. So a lot of positives to take, and hopefully next year they can also not be seeing Douglas Lewis quite as much. But yeah, I'm a lot more positive going into next season than I was, I think, coming into this one.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. That's it then. First ever women's Golden Apples done and dusted. Format for that women's cricket, will the women's county schedule be staying the same for next year, I guess? There's been
Not quite. Matt, do you want to say?
Well, of course, we've got the addition of Yorkshire next year, which changes things. But the ECB, in their wisdom, have not just increased the amount of games by 2. So in the One Day Cup, it is doing that. So there will be 16 games rather than 14 games. You play every team twice. But because of that, they have taken 2 games off the Blast. So this year there was 14 games. Next year there will be 12 games. So there will be an uneven split. Not quite sure. I mean, presumably it'd be a kind of north-south thing, who you play twice, who you play once. And also they've flipped around the qualification spots in each tournament. So this year it was 3 teams at finals day in the Blast and 4 teams qualified in the One Day Cup for semis then final. Next year it will be different. The women's Blast will be the same as the men's Blast. There'll be 4 teams there, 2 semis and the final. And it's on a Friday, which is another issue. But in the One Day Cup, which I think is the strangest one, it's 3 out of 9. They've added a team, but they've taken away a qualification spot in the One Day Cup. So, we talk about, obviously, Somerset this year came 5th and, just missed out on the qualification spot. But obviously next year there'll be 1 less spot. So we're going to have to improve quite markedly to try and get through in the One Day Cup. So some slightly odd decisions, but from my perspective at least. But yeah, so there are some changes. There is always changes to the women's schedule. I think there barely ever been a season that stayed the same, but yeah, it's the same next
year. And a lot of them do not seem to have any kind of logic to them whatsoever.
Yeah, well, just to mention, on commentary for the Women's One Day Cup final, Sophie Luff was on there. She was talking about this format change. And she was basically saying that the reason for it going to 3 out of 9 going through in the One Day Cup or at least her interpretation of it, is that because you're playing across an entire this is like the bread and butter competition, the equivalent of the county championship, played across the entire season, and you want to reward the top team by having them go straight into the final. So she seemed quite happy with that, which has surprised me a bit because it obviously Somerset are not that top team. We're the team that's going to be going for sort of fourth, you know. So she'd be wanting it to remain at 4 and us to be able to sneak into fourth. I was surprised that she took that view, and I can see her logic there. But I think it will create a lot of dead games, and teams will be losing interest in that competition fairly quickly, and not only teams but the fans as well. And the whole women's county cricket thing, professionalizing it, part of the reason for going to counties was to get more fans, to get fans more interested. So to create a format which will create a lot of dead games and teams losing interest relatively early because they'll be mathematically unable to get through to the knockout stages seems a very strange decision. So yeah, constant changes to the women's. I think since the regional cricket came in, there's been a change to the format like pretty much every season. And there'll be another change next season for 2027 because obviously Glamorgan are joining Tier 1. So there'll be further changes then. Can't wait.
Well, George Doyle put out a tweet today saying no more discussion about the men's structure until 2029. Amen to that.
Stop. You don't have to keep talking about it. The amount of hours we spent this year talking about it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll rear its ugly head again until a fantastic solution can be reached. But Dan, I think you've always hit the nail on the head when you said this isn't the best solution, but it is very much the least worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good stuff then.
Can I ask one question very quickly, mainly to Matt? Does Sophie Luff have a century at the Cooper Associates County Ground?
No.
I'll defer to Shep on that.
Well, according to Cricket Archive,
she didn't have one at the start of this season.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have thought she did as well. But according to Cricket Archive, she did score 100. She does have a century at Taunton. She scored 138 not out for Somerset against Wales in 2015 in a Women's One Day Cup match, a 50-over match. I mean, maybe Cricket Archive has the wrong venue, but I know that Somerset women did occasionally play at Taunton in the amateur era.
Oh no!
So apparently,
I just text her. Is that easier? Do we just want official source? Do we go with Sophie Luff herself or the archive? I think
we'll go with Sophie. I'm sure somebody said that a reliable source. I can't remember. It said, and Sophie Luff, of course, will be looking to score her first ever 100 at her beloved home ground of Taunton.
I mean, it would be her first professional century, her first century in a semi-professional or professional game, a top-level game.
Are we now just waiting for Luffy to text you back, Harry?
No, don't worry. We can tweet, reply, or whatever.
Yeah.
If she's straight on it, then I'll let you know. But it's not yet.
I was just curious because I think you alluded to it earlier, so I just I looked it up to see if she has a century, just to double check, see if she has a century.
What do you look it up? See, this is quality content now. We're just waffling on about it. What about if we look it up on like Crick Info?
Ooh.
No, I think you should end the pod with that as like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then they have to wait till something else to tell them.
Do I need to try and find the duff noises for EastEnders or?
Yeah, we will not announce it until.
Have you got 100 at Taunton?
Leave it on that. That is a cliffhanger. Yeah, that's it.
That's done. But now we're rabbiting on after the cliffhanger. Shall we just go?
Yeah, cut this and then end it on the.
No, we'll leave this bit in. Right. Cheers, everyone.